Welcome back. I went through all the pilots and I arranged their promotion level and bought their skills, and I created a player log, which is something that comes with the game. Of course, you're going to want to make copies of the sheet that they give you. So I put the campaign name here. We're doing Lebanon 1. We're doing a long campaign, which is 12 days. We're going to fill up this entire thing. I started with 42 SO points. I got 6 because just a reminder, I got 6 points because of the A4 Skyhawk. I hired 2 of those, so that gave me 3 points each. And I spent 33 points on pilot skills. I may have gone bonkers with this, and it's a new feature in this game that I don't think has been in any other leader game, and I just really liked it, and I went hog wild. So this may be the stupidest thing I ever did or the smartest thing I ever did. We're going to find out. I then listed all my different pilots, which for a long campaign fills up the entire sheet. And then you list their experience. So here's my noob. There's my 2 skilled pilots. There's my veteran. And then my 6 average pilots. There's 2 more at the bottom. And then here's my 2 green pilots. And then I also marked whether or not they had a cool value. So these 3 had a cool value. Those 4 had a cool value of 1. This one's at 0. I didn't bother putting the 0 in. And then so forth. I went through. Just a quick glance. Some of the strategy that I implemented is my F-15s both got fighter pilot, which made total sense. And I made them both skilled. And this goes back to my Hornet leader days, but I get very frustrated if I can't shoot down bandits. Bandits are annoying, and you're going to find when we go through this why. So my fighters, I place a lot of value in them. They also take a long time to level up. They need a lot of experience points. So putting them at skilled is very nice. They also get 1 SA point, which is this little token. And then they have pretty nice air-to-air values all ready to start the game. So can't go wrong with letting your air-to-air guys get the promotions. Now, my veteran is actually a phantom, which I noted that my phantoms need a lot more experience points to level up than my F-16s. So I went after the phantom largely because I mentioned that there's this flight leader concept, which we only briefly talked about. The phantom gets 3 SA points, and this number here is huge if you're the flight leader. And being the most promoted person in the mission, which is the veteran, and the only veteran, you get to have the flight leader, which means that these tokens can then be distributed to other pilots. So he doesn't have to spend all 3 points on himself. He gets to actually give those points like candy to the other players, and that's or the other pilots, and that's huge. So he's my veteran, and even at veteran status, his air-to-ground and air-to-air is still very poor. So what he makes up for and all these other cool numbers, he gets suffered there. Average are my other 3 phantoms, and then my noob is the Kafer, and I made this particular F-16 average, but I gave it the famed ability, which is an interesting skill. Well, Kafer, by the way, I gave focus to, which will allow him to get a +1 to his die rolls for 1 turn. Here, this one also has focused, and famed is when he gets promoted to a new level. So you can see here that's 9 experience points to get to the next level. So let's say he gets promoted to a new level. He can take half of the experience and just automatically add it to the next level, which is awesome. So I can take, I'm assuming, I don't know if it's round up, round down. Let's see. Let's test this rule book out. After you promote, gain half rounding down. There we go. The number of experience to promote to the next skill level. So I look at the next skill level number. So let's say the next skill level says 12. I then get to take 6 experience points and I just get added. I'm already 6 way towards 12. So it allows him to promote quickly, which I thought was pretty darn awesome. So he's starting at average. And he's a guy that needs a ton of experience points. After average, veteran is 11, and then his skilled number, let's see if I can do this without making a big mess. Well, there you go. There's a 10 right there. So I can get 5 experience points, boom, towards that as soon as I get past average. So I liked it. So here we go. My 2 greens are the other F-16s, which I wasn't planning on doing, but after looking at them, they, at a green level, he promotes it after 2 experience points, and he promotes after 4. I mean, it wasn't too bad, and 2 people have to be green, so I might as well make it them. There's another rule I didn't explain very much. The rule is basically that, I don't have the rule book out, but basically you can spend SO points to promote a pilot. So if you have a pilot that's average and you want him to be skilled, you can spend SO points to promote them. It's expensive. It's something like 6 SO points. I can't remember, but I never do that. But it's in the rule book. You can use it. If it's your first game, I don't recommend you play around with that yet. Just try the game. See how it is, and if you fail miserably, like I may do on this campaign, it's no big deal. It's about having fun. When you go back to it and try to do it a second time, that's when you come in and try to get cute with promoting pilots and spending SO points on that kind of stuff. Because then you're min-maxing and you've got a solid strategy. There's ways that you're going to be able to get better and better as you play these games. So for your first game, just dive in. It takes long enough to just get this far. Okay, and then my 2 A4 Skyhawks are average. And I gave them both the Eagle Eyes, which helps them to bomb from up above. I gave both of these guys my +1 cool. And then I gave both of them quick hands. So these guys got double promotions. So I have high hopes for these guys, even though they're low experience level right now. This is a +1 to their air to ground, so they're actually at 0. Instead of the -1, they're both going to be at 0, even at the green level. And that's part of my decision making for making them green. I compensated for it by giving them bonus. So there we go. So when you're ready to start the game, we just start here. Draw target cards. It's a very simple step. What we do is you look at your campaign, and your recon value has a 2. So that means we get to draw 2 target cards. So 1, 2. These are our 2 target cards. I couldn't have asked for a better 2 to start. And what I mean by that is I really wanted a secondary target. On every single day, you get to do a primary target, which is going to be this guy, and you get to do a secondary target, but only if it has a secondary keyword. They don't always have it. Like if you look at this side, there is no secondary keyword. So if I would have drawn 2 targets and neither of them were secondary, I would have been having a lot of pilots on the very first day doing absolutely nothing. Now there is in the rule book, you can spend SO points to draw more cards. And I actually don't know how many SO points that is. So let me just show you real quick. The rule book is a fairly handy thing you can just have as you go. So we're going to jump ahead a bit here. So here's the Squadron Selection. We went through that. Special rules. If it's your first time playing a game like this, definitely give it a go. So here, pre-flight. So we draw target cards. So we are now at recon priority. So I can spend 3 SO points, because it's a long campaign, to draw 1 more target card. So by having an excellent draw like we did, we saved ourselves 3 points. Because I probably would have been tempted to draw another target card until I got a secondary. You can keep drawing, by the way. It's 3 points per draw. So anyways, this is perfect. Secondary mission is always second. And so what I do is I just put the cards right over top of each other. Now, another thing to pay attention to is here. I can send 7 planes on this one and 3 on that one. So I can send 10 out of my 12 planes. So 2 of my planes really are going to sit this turn. and do nothing. I have to decide which ones those are going to be. But so it's 7 and 3. So next thing we do, we select our target, which we did. Then we determine and place sights. So we do this per target. So right now we're going to do it for this target. And then after we're done going through all these steps and we finish homebound flight, before we do debriefing, we're going to go back to step 2, not step 1, step 2, and then do the secondary mission and repeat all these again. And then once we're done with both of them, we'll do 22, 23, etc. Okay, so this board doesn't explain that very well, but it's in the rule book. It's definitely there, but trust me on this. We're going to go through all those steps for each of these cards. But we're on this one right now, so I'm going to cover up the other one. Just know that 3 planes can go in this one, 7 can go in that one. So we're going to put 7 on, and but before I do that, I get to determine and place sights. So here's what this means. I'm going to take my bandit draw bag, if you will, and I will just set it right here. And then I'm going to look at the card, and it's saying the APP stands for approach. The CTR means center. So this is the center area here. And then these are the approach areas. So here, 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 and there. Okay, the outside areas are for us. That's where we enter. So what it's saying is that for every approach, we're going to draw 2 sights, and for every center, we're going to draw 5. Now, very important point to note here is we're placing sights. We're not doing bandits. Bandits is further down. So we're doing sights, not bandits. So here we're going to do 2 approach and 5 center. So I like to just, you got to declare it before you start. And if you're playing by yourself, don't cheat yourself. So I'm going to do west, south, east, then north, and then I'll do the center. So for the west, I'm drawing 2, and you flip them over to the side that has a sight. That's the bandit, and then that's the sight. So you want to use the sight. And then we got 2 down here. And we got 2 over here. Those are always nice. And by the way, these are double-sided. There are single-sided ones, but they're not in this campaign. So that means that we got a reprieve over there. And we go up here. And that's even better. Okay. So, and then we get 5 in the center. So here's 1, 2, 3. Sorry for the 1, 2, 3. Man, there's a lot. 4 and 5. Okay, so these are all the sites, and the very next step after this is assigning the pilots, like who is going to go on the mission, and then we arm the aircraft. So there's a couple, this is where the strategy really starts to kick into some gear. So here's what I like to do. When you're looking at these bandits, obviously they get to roll a die, and if they're trying to hit you, a 5, 6 is 1 hit, or I'm sorry, a 5 or 6 is a stress. A 7 or 8 is a damage, and then a 9 is destroyed. So you clearly don't want something that says 1, 2, 3 here. That means they're super good at what they do. So that's one thing to bear in mind. The other thing that I'm noticing right away is these are both radar. Remember I told you about the radar specialists? Now you know why. Radar are everywhere. And so these are radar, and not only are they radar, but they have a range of 2. So that means that they can hit 0, 1, I'm sorry, this is even 1. You can go 1 over here. They can even hit over here. This is 2 range away, 1, 2. So these guys are bad news. And so I like to put them together. Obviously here we have no bandits, so it just goes back in the cup. And here, this is a range 0. So they cannot hit any plane unless they're in this area. And then on top of it, they can only hit the plane if they're flying low. See that L there? So as long as my planes are flying high, they can even fly into this zone here and they can't get hit by him. So he's easy to ignore. So let's grab those and put them back in the cup. Here we have another radar, 2 of them. And then we have 2 low range 0 guys. So those can be a problem because we have to fly into the center area in order to bomb the target. So they will be a hassle for us. And not only that, but when we go into that center area to bomb the target, we have to usually fly low because most of our bombs are low requirement bombs. So these 2 will be a problem. We're going to need to have a solution for those. But these are the bigger problem because before we even get here, they can shoot, and you can see here they can shoot it high. So that's why the radar guys are a pain in the butt. Then up here we have another low range 0 guy. Easy to ignore if we just fly right over him. Here is another low range 0, and there's another radar. So we got a lot of radar on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got like 5 out of the 7, I think, that's even in the game. So this is a heavily radared area, and we can think about our approaches. But here's the next part of the game, and this is new for me. I've never played this before. But what we do is we actually have to draw what's called these tokens. I can't even remember what they're called. They're like approach. So let's look here real quick. So once we, I'm a little ahead of myself here. Here we go. If your campaign sheet uses angle of attack counters, place these next to each site with a range of 1 or more in the approach area. So that's what we have to do. So again, these are range 2. So they're going to get 1, and these are all range 0, so they're not going to get 1. So we're going to draw these angle of approach counters. So I'm going to draw starting down here at the bottom. Okay, for the first one, so the little arrow is the direction it sits. So this is new. If you play Hornet Leader, you've never done something like this before. So this, what this is saying is that this particular missile site can only shoot here, 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 and here. It's only going to shoot these areas. So if you're flying in this way, remember how I said that this is a range 2 and this is 2 away? So a range 2 can normally hit here, but because of that token, he cannot hit there. But our planes that are sitting here can't hit him either. So it's an interesting thing. You got to be in there. Oh, hold on. I'm totally doing this backwards. It's the red zones. So he can hit everywhere but here. So he can't hit these areas, but he can hit all of the rest of the map. That's awful. It's the red. I'm so sorry. It's the red you have to pay attention to. So yes, if I'm putting my planes here, he can shoot at them. That's bad. Okay, I drew awful. Let's get the next one. All right, another bad one. So both of those are awful. And now I could put my planes here, which means that they won't be able to shoot me, but I can't shoot them either. That's a big deal because these angle of approaches are they're restrictive to not only them but to us as well. So if we're sitting here, we can't shoot at those. We can still fly over them, and if you'll notice, he can't hit even over top of him, but we can fly over him. By the time we get to the center area here, then we're in his red zone, and he can get us. Well, actually, no, the center area is black as well. So, anyways, you get my point. I'm sorry I'm digressing there. So here we have, for that particular guy, he can only shoot that way. And a similar one again for him. And then coming around, we have one more here. So that is interesting. They all can shoot to the north. And they can all be shot at from the north. But if we come... this is an interesting twist to the game. So if we flew in from the south, we can fly all the way to the center, and this guy can't hit us. And neither can him. So we can completely ignore the radar. Guys. Boy, is that really how this works? It just seems like easy. I would almost rather have it the other way, where it's harder. So let's see here. Let's check this out. For each site, place the counter next to the site. The red angle of attack areas denote the areas the site can attack and be attacked from. The black areas show areas the site cannot attack or be attacked from and represent blind spots. Oof. Okay. I do know one thing that I did wrong. Okay, so I'm correct in saying that if we flew from the south here, this guy doesn't see us. He can't shoot at us. And even if we flew to the center and then turned around and came back out, if that was our flight path, this guy can't hit us, and neither can this guy or this guy. But the mistake I made is that the center guys do not draw from the cup. They, the ones in the center can always see everywhere. So the center have special rules. They don't draw the tokens, and they have no blind spots. So these guys can hit 2 spaces away or 2 spaces away. So if we come here, those center guys are a problem, both of them. But this one and this one are inert, and so is that one. So we can come in from the south and completely ignore that punk. That's amazing. Okay, well, in the Hornet Leader games, which I know you're not here to watch that, but in other previous leader games, these two would have been a big problem. So that's interesting. That's a nice little twist to the strategy there. Now, if I'm flying from here and go here and then here, the only targets I have to worry about are these two, and these two are only a problem when I'm here, and then these two are a problem immediately. As soon as I enter the map, as soon as I enter, those two can start shooting at me. So this I can ignore, that I can ignore, this I can ignore, him I can ignore, and I can ignore both of these. These I just explained are because of the radar, the blockage, if you will. These are all range 0, so unless I go in that particular zone, they can't hit me. Even if they see me, I can wave at them, I can moon them, I can do whatever I want, but unless I go into their zone, they can't do anything. So that's why this one, that one, and that one are all ignorable. So that is cool. All right, a couple other things to denote. We talked about how 7 planes can go on this. Victory points is 4 if we destroy this. If your campaign is in the 40s or 50s, there's a different number of hits, but we're not in the 40s or 50s. This is 1981. We have to hit this thing 13 times to destroy it. And then there's an overkill, and it's fixed. So those are both keywords that we have to talk about. Fixed. JDAM weapons can only attack fixed targets from 99 to 2008. So we're not using any JDAM weapons. So I don't think any of these are JDAM weapons. thinking. No, they aren't. So we're fine there. We can ignore this. This doesn't affect us because we're not going to be equipping any of those types of weapons. And then the overkill. Overkill. You gain +1 victory points if you inflict the specified number of hits on the target. So what it's saying is you need 13 hits to destroy this. But if you overkill it and do 16 hits, you gain an extra victory point. So instead of getting 4 victory points, we'll get 5. But here's what's interesting. The campaign has a special rule, United Nations pressure. If I exceed the hits needed to destroy, I lose 2 SOs or 1 victory point. So if I overkill this thing, I gain a victory point, but then I lose a victory point. So there's no point in overkilling targets. But sometimes I do too many hits just by accident, right? Because you don't know how many dice rolls are going to hit or not hit. So if I do happen to put too many hits on him, I could at least negate the penalty. Let's put it that way. So the overkill helps me to negate the penalty of hitting it too much. So that's not too bad. It's a nice forgiving first target for us. And a couple other things to note. The Intel and INFRA 1 and 2, what that means is if I destroy the target, I get to move the Intel marker 1 to the right and the INFRA marker 2 to the right. And those markers are over here. So I would actually get to move this to the right 1 space and that one to the right 2 spaces. So now the INFRA would be 0 instead of +1, and et cetera, et cetera. So let me put those back for now. So there's a lot of meat on these cards. So we German in place sites. Now we have to assign our pilots in an armor aircraft. Okay, so I was really concerned about all these radar sites, but now there's only 2. So I only need 1 radar specialist. I was thinking at first I may need to take both. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one of our radar specialists. I don't know if one matters over the other. They don't. So we'll take Brick. And he's on the mission. And we get to choose if he's going to fly low or high. We're going to put him on high. Okay, so Brick is in the mission. And, you know, you could do various things. Like, so since we know that this guy is on the mission, you know, I sometimes like to pick him up and, you know, place him in his own special section just to show or denote that he's on this particular mission. I don't know how best to do it for the video, but we'll do that for here. So Brick is in the mission. We also want one of our fighter pilots to be in the mission, and I'm going to pick the one that gets a +3. So he's on the mission. The other fighter pilot will be on the next mission, so I will put him over here. So here we go. We got 2 guys that are going to be on this mission. We need 5 more. I definitely want the veteran in this mission. So there's 3 out of 7. Let's take another Phantom. There's 4 out of 7. Let's take our 2 green guys for 5 and 6. Out of 7. And you know what? I really want my F-16s to get promoted. So we're going to take all 3 F-16s on this mission. So there's our 7. Starting here and going over. So we have these 3 that aren't going to be able to go. We have another one up there that's not going to be able to go. But remember, we have another target where at least 3 of them are going to be able to go on that mission. What's interesting is I have 5 planes left. There's this fighter over here, our radar specialist, and then 2 phantoms and the Kafer. So 2 of these guys are not going to get to go on any mission at all this week. But it is what it is. So let's so now we have to arm our guys. This can be a very time-consuming process, but let's do the easy one first. Now I'm going to move my cups out of the way, and I'm going to take this tray and move it closer. Put it here, and this is where it gets interesting. But the first thing we want to do is we want to find our Skyhawk. That's this guy right here. He has a weight of 5, and we know that there's 2 radar guys that we have to take out. Those 2 radars right there. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find our radar weapons, and it's the AGM-45, and they happen to be right here. So we're going to take at least 2. So he's got 2, and then we're going to take our Phantom, who can also have AGM-45s, and we know this because right there, we're going to give him 2. And this is important to have, since there's 2 radar sites, you want 2 planes that can shoot the same round. So here's some of the basics. When it's time for our planes to attack, they get to pick one and only one target. So let's say he picks this radar site right here. He gets to shoot at that radar site. He cannot shoot at the other one. So it's helpful to have 2 planes with anti-radar weapons, because he can shoot at one and then the other plane can shoot at the other, and in the very first turn we could, if under ideal circumstances, destroy both of these right away before they ever have a chance to do anything. And that is called A-Team. Love it when a plan comes together right there. So so that's why I like to divide it up. So the Phantom is a good companion to the Skyhawk. I could have also just brought the other Skyhawk, but I don't know what the secondary mission is going to have in store for us. So anyways, Phantoms are just as good. And so anyways, the Skyhawk has 2, and then he's got a weight of 5, so he still has 3 weight points left. So now you got to look at everything else he can do. He can do a CBU, and then the MKs, and the rockets. He can also do an ECM pod, which isn't a bad idea. Okay, so going back over to here, I'm looking for CBUs. I'm sure you guys see it and are screaming at me, it's right there, why can't you see it? K84, M118, 78s, Pythons, AIM-120s. Those are out. They're not even in the campaign. These are, those are the blues. AGM-12s, 45, 81. There we go. CBU. Now, what I like about them is, see how that says S+4? That means they get a +4 against soft targets. And there are 2 soft targets here that are worth taking out. And so my thoughts are with the Skyhawk is I'm not interested in bombing the primary target as much as I'm interested in supporting the other planes. So their job is to clear things out so the other planes can do the damage. So I'm going to give him one of those. So 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't hurt. And I know for those of you who are new, this is something you're just going to have to go through the first round and experience. But there's only 5 turns. Turn 1 starts here. We move. Then we do turn 2 starting there. We move. We then do turn 3 starting here. On turn 3, we finally get to bomb the target. It takes 3 turns just to bomb the target. So on turn 3 is the first time that I'm going to be trying to take out one of these. Then this would be turn 4, right? Let's say I'm using the same plane to do both of these. This would be turn 3. That would be turn 4. Then there's only one final turn left in the game, turn 5, to take this out. And then we have to fly away. So one of the things to understand is you can't, big newbie mistake is to just load up on bombs. Like, I'm tempted to say, okay, this is 1, this is 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Put 3 of these there. 3, 4, 5, right? Well, on turn 3, I'm going after one of those targets. On turn 4, I go after the other one. What do I do on turn 5? I mean, I got this bomb that goes after soft targets, but ideally, if I took out those 2 targets, the first 2 turns, that 5th turn, I'm sitting with a bomb that has no point, no use whatsoever. So those are the kind of things you have to think about when you're doing this, and it's challenging. I'm not going to try to tell you it's easy, and you're going to go in and regret every decision you made. But this is the thought process you have to go through. And you have to sort of plan out, okay, this will be turn 1, this will be turn 2. I'm bringing 2 of these in case I miss. So if I do everything perfectly, this will hit, that one will hit for the Phantom, and then this will be a useless bomb, and that'll be a useless bomb. So I'm already, putting in some cushion. Now the question becomes, do I put in cushion for the soft targets? And my answer is no. Largely because I'm not planning on being there for 5 turns. I'm planning on getting in, bombing everything by turn 3, and then leaving. There's no point in even sticking around to turn 4. So I'm going to take one of these, 2 of those, and I still have 2 weight points left. So there's a couple of choices here. The one choice, which might seem to be the most obvious, is we have these MK, oh no, those are rockets. That one's 3 weight points. See the blue number 3? That's too heavy. Sorry, token was stuck to my arm. This one is poured just a little bit too cold. So the other side of the CBU is an MK82, which it does use MK82s. So we could try those, but I'm not interested in those. That seems like the more obvious one, but I am not as interested. And then of course there's an MK81, which only weighs a half point, so I can carry 2 of these. Now here's an interesting rule with this. If I'm attacking a single target, I can drop as many bombs as I want on that target. So if I want, I can, on turn 3, when I get to the center area, I can drop both of these on that together. I don't have to do this one on turn 3 and this one on turn 4. Don't have to do that. I can just drop them both. Boom, boom. And that also applies to the radar weapon. So remember I said that one will hit and the other one's wasted, but I'm going to shoot both of them on turn 1. So even if I miss with this one, I'm going to get to roll the dice twice. And I'm going to hope that between these 2, one of them is going to hit. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot 2 at this target and then 2 at that target and roll basically 2 dice to destroy each one. So here, I have a similar choice. I can take out a soft target there. So do I want to do 2 of those? And my answer is yes. I'm going to take 2. And then I'm going to, for my last magic trick, take an ECM pod, which is that guy right there. And I didn't explain this very well, but if there's ever anything that's going to attack this plane, I get a die roll. If I roll a 6 or higher, then they don't even get to roll their attack dice. I mean, basically, it's an automatic miss for them. We jam their radar, or we jam them, or we hid behind a mountain, or whatever thematic thing you want to discuss. So that's what that means. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go back over here to the Phantom. He gets a 6. So then the question becomes, do I want to do the same thing? Do I want to go after the other soft target? And my answer is I really don't want to, but it's not a bad idea. So here's some things to think about with that. I have enough of these points. I'm going to use 2 of these on turn 1. And then I would have to use 2 of these on turn 3, and I don't have enough for... He's the leader, so he can dish them out like candy, but he cannot. So I can only dish this out to 1. And here's where I'm going. They get to, remember, fast attacks first, then the bandits, or the sights, and then slow. He's slow. He's slow. So before he gets to drop these bombs, those guys will already have attacked. For at least 1 round, they get a free attack. Except, I'm going to use one of these, which then allows him to go during the fast phase. So he'll be able to drop these bombs and kill one of them, but he will not, because I don't have an extra one. I only have 3. I'm going to give out 2 so we can take out the radar. So 1 will go to him, and 1 will go to him so they can take out the radar. But then I have 1 more, which I will use for him to take out one of them, but we're going to have to just take our chances. He's going to get a shot at us, and we're going to have to just hope he doesn't hit us. So, so the Phantom will not go after the soft targets. He's going to go after the primary target. Let's bomb. Lock and load. Okay, so with that being said, what are we going to do? We have all the MK bombs, the M117 and M118. So let's look real quick at these. Here's the M117. Well, that's a nice one. It has a S+3, so I really could go after a soft target if I wanted to. I'll think about that. And the M118 should be here somewhere. It's the MK84. There it is, M118. So it takes 4 weight points, but I could potentially do 4 hits with that guy. Whereas this one is 3 weight points and it potentially has 3 hits. So I'm tempted. There you go, 4, 5, 6. 6 weight points. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this guy, our Fighting Falcon, has 6 weight points. He does not have the option to take the M118 like he does. See, right here, M118. There is no M118 in his loadout. So this guy has different sets of choices. And what we're going to do with him is I think we're going to take some MK3s, 2 of them. I'm a big fan of going big. So my die roll is either going to hit big or it's going to go home as a loser. Now this Phantom, our veteran, he can take the M118 as well. So let's put one of those on. So there's a 4. He has 2 weight points left. So we can do that. I guess we can. Sure, we'll do that. Okay, he's done. Now we have our F-15. He can take aim 7s and aim 9s. There's one other goofy rule with this campaign. You cannot arm more than a total of 8 aim 7s or 9s per day. That's per day. That means for this mission and that mission, we can't have more than 9. So this mission is going to load, we're going to draw bandit chits for all 4 approaches. So that's a 4 and then 1. So we're going to draw 5 total bandits on this particular mission. On this mission, we're going to draw 12 bandits. So this is I think bandits are going to definitely be an issue. Okay, so for our F-15, we need aim 7s and 9s, and I probably need somebody else to help me with aim 7s and 9s. Jeez Louise. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4. I'm only allowed 8 per day. I don't want to do 4 and 4 because we're only drawing 5 total on the other mission. So I got 4 here. I'm going to make 5 for this mission. Yeah, I'm going to do 5 for this mission. So he actually has a weight capacity of 8. So we got 9s and 7s here. The 7 is range 2, but it can't be range 0. So I'm going to do crap. I don't like this. All right, so here's what's going through my head. If I take 5 of these, it's going to take all 5 rounds to shoot these because I can only shoot 1 per target. I mean, I can shoot 2 at 1 target, but if I'm drawing 12 bandits, there's chances are I got way more than 5 bandits out there. So I want to only use 1 of these per bandit if I can. It's going to take 5 rounds to shoot all 5 of them. Now, if I put 1 over here, he can shoot during round 1 just like he can shoot during round 1. That's ideal. The problem I'm running into is a particular rule we haven't gone over yet, and there's a table here right there. See where it says air to ground weight points. If I'm carrying 2 weight points worth of bombs, I get no penalty. But let's say I have a bomber that's loaded up to bomb the crap out of the target. If he also has an aim 7 or an aim 9, I have to take a -3 to my die roll. So if I'm shooting an air-to-air missile, but I'm loaded up with bombs that weigh 5 or more, then my air-to-air missile gets a 3 penalty to the die roll. That's awful. So you can't just like tack on aim 7s and aim 9s onto your bombers and say, oh, well, I got 1 weight point left, even though I got, mega bombs on it, because there's a big penalty. So that's the part I'm struggling with. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to deal with 12 bandits, and now some of them are going to draw the no bandit chit, which is great, but man, oh man, 12 is a lot. In fact, I'm very tempted to just bring another F-15 on this particular mission. Yeah, in fact I am. I'm going to take this Fighting Falcon. No. I'm going to take this Fighting Falcon F-16 and put it out of the mission. And I'm going to put the F-15 in the mission. I'm going to have 2 F-15s for this particular mission. And I'm going to have 6 of my 8 for this mission. I'm going to have 2 aim 7s and 1 aim 9. So they're both going to be identically like that. And one thing to always bear in mind when you're planning this out is this here, situational awareness. He's not the flight leader. He can't dish it out like candy. He can only use it on himself. So even though he's slow, he's going to be able to use this and launch one of these fast and then launch another one slow, both within round 1. So then this one is for round 2. So I got basically a 2-range weapon. It's going to be able to hit something 2 range away. I'm going to launch 2 of those in round 1, and then by round 2, I can launch another one and hit a target that's either next to me or 1 or more away. So that's what I'm going to do. And I still have a whole bunch of points left. Never going to be able to use those, but I will load up. I can put on pythons, which are interesting, but they cost SO points. And I'm not sure I'm excited about spending SO points, but if I look at a python, they cost 1 SO point to use. They have a range of 0 or 1. They're not bad. In fact, with 12 bandits, I mean, there's a huge temptation to do this. Oh, what a tough choice. But I'm going to, for sure, each of these guys is getting an ECM pod. So that takes 1. So 1, 2, 3. They're loaded up with 4 weight points each. And then this particular bomber here has 6 weight points. We're going to go big on this one. Let me put this plane out of the way. He's my F-16, so we're going to go 3 and 3. Now, some of my guys don't have ECM pods, so I'm taking a lot of risk here. Let's just see how this plays out. I may have a miserable first round. I have to decide if I'm going to spend SO points for pythons, and I don't think I want to. Oh, this is such a tough choice. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. I think we're going to go with it. Let's go with it. Okay, so I'm going to put the munitions away. Next thing we do, we just finished pre-flight. 1 hour in, and we finished pre-flight. Next, we draw target bound event card. And these are usually always bad, so let's see. Whoops, that's a target card. Okay, you read the top one. Move the invasion counter 1 to the left. Actually, that was a good one, but our invasion counter is already as far to the left as it goes, so it does jack diddly for us, but it's out of the game. At least, or it'll be reshuffled at a later point. Okay, next. Place aircraft and choose altitude. So, as you noticed, I was already doing this, so everything is going in. And I always like putting them at high altitude to start the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? Oh, there we go, star. There they are. I'm putting them all in that zone, and they're all high. All right, next. Determine and place bandits. So this is the part where we now finally get to see how bad this is going to get. So we're flying in, their radars are going off, the alarms are going off, and now their bandits are scrambling and trying to intercept us. So we need 2 per approach and 4 for the center. So we'll do the same pattern as before. Here's 2 for the west. Oh crap, drawing the wrong, that's the wrong bucket. 2 for the west. 1, 2. What do we got? We got a MiG-21 and nothing. Okay, so I'll just put the nothing to the side. 2 for the south. Ooh, that's what we like to see. Nothing. 2 for the east. That was awesome. 2 to the north. Okay, we got a MiG there and nothing. Boy, did I overkill this so far. And then 4 in the center. So I'm going to put them over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 more misses. Wow. I've never seen, well, I've never played this game before, I guess. So this is different. So then we have 1 that's in the center. And all of these go back in the bin. That was amazing. Okay, I think, so one of the differences between this and Hornet Leader is that in Hornet Leader, all of the bandit chits go into there, whereas here we now have a limited number. Like it's exactly that number goes in. So there's 12 no bandits in there. So if we drew for the sight counters, and as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sight counters. I mean, there's 7, 14, there's only 20. So half of the counters are already gone. So, and then we have 12 of those. So there's over a 50% chance that we're grabbing no sight, no bandit. I think the odds were still in our favor here, in our random selection. But the point though is that there's a lot of these, whereas, you know, if in the previous games there isn't. And so that's an interesting difference to this game. Maybe won't go noticed by those of you who are new to this particular game, but for those who are veterans, it's an interesting thing. And it worked out in our favor, and it means that I went bonkers over here. But boy, gosh darn it, I'm glad I didn't spend SO points for pythons. Okay, so here we go. We did that. The bandits have been placed. Intel Air Defense Adjustment. Okay, so this step here, it basically means one thing when you're playing the game, and it's real simple. You come over here to the Intel, and it says no change. Here, let's say it was on this one, -1 center sight. I actually get to go over here and destroy one of these center sights. I just get to take it out of the game. So it's pretty powerful. Now there's some campaigns where +1 center sight. See that? That's awful. So you want to get that intel to go down as fast as you can. Okay, so anyways, that's what that step is. Draw over target event card. Okay, so now we're at our target. So now we have to draw another event card. This time we read the middle. Gain +2 on all pilot attack rolls during turns 1 and 2. Wow, we're getting all these good bonuses. That is probably the best one you can get on your very first day, because we got all these pilots that have no experience, and they have awful air to ground and air to air. And on turn 1 and 2, we're going to get huge bonuses. Now, did you notice though, turn 3 is when you get to the target. It doesn't help you for that, but it's going to help us to clear out all this nonsense. And that part that's good. I'm very happy with that. Place turn counter in one box. All that's telling you to do is turn 1. Fast pilots attack. Okay, so we're now over target. Over target it's a nomenclature, if you're new, that's going to be confusing. Because over target to me means you're here. But really you're here. Over target means you're just in this area. This is center. So over target center, we're over target south approach. How's that? over target, you know, just from the south, whatever that's called. South, approach, over target, pre-approach area. This is still considered over target, even though we can't bomb the target yet. How about that? So that's what this means. Fast pilot attack. So here's where all of our fast pilots get to go. Before any of them get to go. And we don't have any fast pilots, I'm pretty sure. So we got slow, 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 and slow. Okay, but we are going to have a fast attack. I'll explain that in a second. But first I want to just talk about the bandits. The bandits here, we have to analyze them too. This MiG-21, for example, has a range of 1. So he can only shoot to here. We're safe. He can't hit us. This bandit, however, has a range of 4. He's going to nail us. And then this bandit way back here has a range of 1. He can't hit us either. And I can't believe we only have 3 bandits actually on the board. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This guy, Storm, is going to use 2 of his points. So these 2 points are going to be used up. I'm just going to put them on the board. And he's going to assign 1 point to the Phantom and then 1 point to the Skyhawk. So now they're both going to be able to go during the fast phase. That's how that works. This guy is going to spend his 1 point and he's going to shoot an aim 7 during the fast phase. And he is going to spend his 1 point and do the exact same thing. So both of them are going to use their points, and they're going to both launch an aim 7. So here's how this is going to work. He's going to launch an aim 7, and he's going to launch an aim 7, and they're both going to launch it at the same target. So I got to do in order. I can't do them both at the same time, but one pilot's going to go after him, and then the other pilot is also going to go after him, and I have to commit this now. I don't get to roll the dice for the first one and then decide, oh, I killed him so I can move this target to somewhere else. I can't do that. I could take a risk and say, okay, the first pilot's going to get him, so the second pilot's going to go after him. But I'm not worried about it. There's only 3 of them on the board because we got so lucky with the chip draw. I actually have an overabundance of missiles right now. So right now I'm only concerned about him because he can hit us back. These 2 cannot. So even if the first round ends, these guys aren't going to hit us. So he's my problem child. And then I'm going to take this guy and he's going to put 2 AGM-45s here on him. And this guy is going to do 2 AGM-45s there on him. And there's different ways you can do this. I mean, I'm setting it up this way because this is my fast attack. You could do it differently. We can go through one pilot at a time, but here, that's how we're going to do it. So let's take care of the air-to-air missiles first. So we're going to do Abyss. He's first. He has a +2 air-to-air value. So we're going to grab our die and roll it. Oh boy, I rolled a 1. So a 1 +2 is 3. +2 more is 4, 5. And then I have the fighter pilot ability, which says +1 to my air-to-air attack at range 1 or more, which this is. This is a range 2 attack. So I'm up to 6. And believe it or not, rolling a 1 hit him. And gosh darn it, I should have known that. If I would have sat down and thought about the math, I should have known that even a roll of a 1 was going to kill him. And it's even better. I mean, look here. See this +1? That +1 on the MiG means that I got a 7 in my roll. So that 1 on the die, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the MiG has there, that's a +1, that's 6. And then the fighter pilot makes it 7. Holy buckets. So I completely wasted this because I just am bad at math. I didn't sit down and math it out. I should have known that this was going to die, and then I could have used this on one of the other targets. So bad mistake on my part, but they're both out of the, I basically, I'm done with those. And he is destroyed. So he goes back into the cup. Okay, so next we're going to do is the Skyhawk. So if you remember, he's going after this guy right here. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter, but he's going to be the one going after that guy. And he has a +1. He also has Eagle Eyes, which Eagle Eyes is +1 if you're at high altitude, which I am. So he's going to get a +2. And then this is going to give him +2 for 4. And the actual radar sight has a +1. So he's going to get a +5 to his die roll. And he only needs a 5 to hit. So, gosh darn it, I'm bad at math a second time. So I didn't need to launch 2 of those. One is a guaranteed hit. I don't even need to roll. And same with the other one. Well, hold on. Let me make sure. He had a +1. Let's go to the other guy, the Phantom. He also has a +1. Same exact bonus. This card right here saved our bacon. At +2 to all pilot attack rolls. What an amazing card to start out. So, didn't need all these munitions. They were total overkill, and both radar sights destroyed. Okay, so we now have a pretty clear shot at coming in. So fast attack is done. Now sights and bandits attack. One pilot may suppress. Pilot under attack may use evasion. We'll talk about those if this ever happens, but there is no sights attacking us. There's no bandits attacking us because we're out of range of everything. And these guys have blind spots. So we just skip it. Nothing happens. Slow pilots attack. Okay? That's where the Skyhawk can go during slow, but he has nothing to do. In fact, everybody has nothing to do except for these fighters. So this fighter is going to shoot his aim 7 here at him. And then the other fighter, the aim 7 has a range of 2. We're here. We can only get to there. This guy's out of our range. We can't even shoot at him right now. But one fighter is going to shoot at him, and I've learned my lesson because look, he's got a +3 on him. I don't think I need to roll. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in fact, I'm going to do the attack with the other guy because his attack bonus is only +2, and I don't need the 3. I only need a 2. 9, 10. I got a 10 before I even roll. My goodness. All right, so this guy is dead. And that's the slow attack phase for all my guys. Everybody else, these are all bombers. They have bombs that are meant for the target. They have nothing to do. So even during the slow phase, there's nothing going on. So slow pilots are done. Aircraft move and adjust altitude. That's me. So now we get to move and adjust altitude. So I'm moving all my guys. They're all moving, and they're all going to stay at high altitude. Doesn't matter. You can just stack them up. Okay, next step. Bandits move. So the bandits will only move if you're not in range. So, this one has a range 1 on him, and we are right now 2 range away. So he for sure is going to move. So he will move to the center, like so. Okay. Advanced turn counter. Boom. We just finished turn 1. We're now on turn 2. So now we go back, and this is just a loop. Fast pilots attack. I have no fast pilots. I do have 1 point left here, and I'm going to use it. Oh, something I totally forgot. flight leader. He's the flight leader. So that's how, the only point of this token is it's saying that you can dish this out like candy. That's all the flight leader means. So he's going to dish out this candy, and he's going to spend his point, and he's going to let this guy shoot an aim 7 against him. And I still get the +2 bonus for this. I still get the +1 bonus for fighter pilot. I still get the +3 bonus for here. So 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the bandit has a 3 on him. 7, 8, 9. Gosh darn it. And then I can roll 1. So that's 10. So I do not even need to roll. This is an amazing mission so far. Haven't needed to roll anything. So I'm just piling up my used munitions there. So that bandit is destroyed. Sights and bandits attack. There's nobody that can attack. We're totally safe. These guys are range 0, he's range 0, range 0, range 0, and these were in their dark spots. Slow pilots attack. We can actually attack these if we wanted. I don't really want to, but we could. If I would have been smart and not used all my AGM 45s, I could have used them to destroy these. There's no strategic value to doing it other than to do it. Now, every plane has a cannon that can hit with a 10, but you have to be low. You can't be high altitude to use that. So, I mean, you can use that at high altitude if you're doing air-to-air, but against a ground target, you have to be low. All right, so we're done with the slow phase. Then aircraft move and adjust altitude. So we're going to move. And I realized my first tactical mistake, potentially, is I was going to use my candy to take him out. And since I used up all my candy, I no longer have the ability to take him out. So you're going to actually get to see us be attacked for a change. Okay. We move, bandits move. There's no bandits left in the mission. Advance the turn counter. So now we go to 3. Fast pilots attack. Nobody's fast. Sights and bandits attack. These sights attack. Both of these. Okay, so this is where now it says one pilot may suppress. Pilot under attack may use evasion. So the suppress ability. So before we roll, that event, by the way, is out. Before we roll their attack sequence, so you can see here, determine the aircraft to be attacked. They target the closest one. All of our aircraft are equally far away, so then you just randomly pick which one's being attacked. So then we got ECM pods. Before suppressing or evading, then we can do suppression step, which is an aircraft may attack the sight or bandit. You perform the attack normal, so we basically drop like a normal bomb. If successful, the sight or bandit attack is canceled, so basically they don't get to roll. But then we lose the bomb. So that's what these rockets do. Let me find a rocket here. These rockets are perfect. So see how that S is in yellow? That yellow means suppression. And so you get a +3. So all you need to roll is a 4 or better, because you still need a 7 to hit. But that S +3 means that if you're using these rockets to do suppression instead of attacking, you get a +3 to your die roll. If you're not using them for suppression, you just need to get a 7. But regardless, if I try to use this to suppress, I could prevent those guys from even shooting at us. Unfortunately, I did not pack these into any of my planes. I would have put them into my F-15s if I could, but they can't hold them. And then it would have required me to fill up. One of the thoughts was I was going to put them on him. Instead, I put an ECM pod on him. So basically, it's a choice I made. It may come to backfire and kick me in the butt, but let's find out. That's what suppressed means, by the way. Now, the ECM pod is before that, and then evasion. So what evasion is I can make my aircraft, I put 2 stress on my pilot, and then I force the enemy to roll 2 dice, and then they have to take the worst outcome. So that's what evasion is. And it's not a bad option. In fact, it's a good option. The problem is that stress is very hard to get rid of. And as we talked about, if your pilot is too stressed out, some of these guys, like if he has more than 4 stress, he performs at a worse level. Then if he has more than 8 stress, he's unfit and he won't even go into missions anymore. So those are things you have to factor in. You can't evade all the time. But without further ado, let's figure out who these 2 guys are attacking. So I'm going to go, there's 7 guys here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In that order, and I will just ignore 8, 9, or 10. I'll keep rolling until I get one of their numbers. So I rolled a 9, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're attacking our flight leader. So our flight leader has a bunch of bombs and 1 cool. Now here's the problem. The flight leader, if they roll a 6, the flight leader just takes 1 stress. A 6 or 7. Anything less than a 6, it's a complete miss. If they roll an 8 or a 9, the flight leader takes damage. And what damage means is all the bombs get jettisoned. They lose everything. So this whole payload is gone. So that's what you're risking when you are deciding whether or not to evade. You're risking losing the entire payload on my best veteran that I'm going to take a chance. So just don't get an 8, 9, or 10. Oh my gosh. I got a 9. Okay, so the 9 is damage. And just want to check something real quick. Get the rule book. Damaged. Remove all weapons, situational awareness counters, and give the pilot 2 stress. Oh gosh darn it. So you get 2 stress even if you are damaged. If it's damaged during a second time, it's a straight. So you get the stress no matter what. I hope you guys forgive me, but I'm going to, since this is my first game, I'm going to claim that I wasn't aware of that rule, and I will take the 2 stress to evade, because it's important that he not lose his payload. But if I roll another 9, I'm still screwed. So one of the die rolls is a 9. Let's roll again. There you go. There's a 4. That's a miss. So there you go. There's a first-hand lesson on why evasion is good. So I apologize. I played that wrong, and thank you if you're cursing me because I made a decision and I reneged on it. Tough. Anyways, there we go. I have 2 stress, and that was worth taking to keep my payload. So now we go to the other guy. Same deal. We're going to attack with him now, and I rolled a 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's this guy who also has an extremely large payload. Let's see, how much stress can he handle? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put 2 stress on him. lessons learned. And then roll the die twice. Oh gosh, that's a bad one. Oh my goodness. So I rolled a 10 and a 9. Okay, the 10 would have destroyed him. He would have been completely destroyed. So the 2 stress was worth it. But here's what makes it worse. He's now up to 4 stress. Because he still took damage. And he lost his payload. Wow. That was awful rolling. Okay. So there you go. For those of you who were mad at me about the last decision, karma. Okay. My decision to not dispense the candy is really hurting me. So let's just say that he attacked him. See how he has that ECM pod? What I would have done is I would have rolled for the pilot. And that's a 2, so that wouldn't have helped. But if I would have gotten a 6 or more, that would have canceled his attack. I could have given an ECM pod to these bombers. I just chose not to. So it's a risk I took, and it's one that backfired. A very bad one. Okay, so now slow pilots attack. Okay, so this is where all the magic happens. So let's start with him, the Skyhawk. We're going to use one of these CBUs to take out one of those. So I rolled a 10. I get to add +4 and all kinds of nonsense, but he is definitely toast. So I only needed an 8 to hit. So I was able to take him out. Now we'll just go in order. We're going to start with this guy. He's got 2 MK-84s. He's going to bomb the target. He gets a +1 air to ground. He's also focused, which we're going to use. Focus says for 1 turn each mission, add +1 to all rolls. This is the time. So he's going to add +1 to all of his rolls, and he's going to attack the target. We don't have to put these on the target. It's just, I get to roll 2 dice, and I'm going to get a +2 because of the focused and because of this. So let's give it a go. First die was a 7. So if you look at this, a 7 means 2 hits. So he got 2 hits. And then the second die is a 6. It's 2 more hits. So this guy just did 4 hits to the target. So we just come over here and I grab one of these. I put 4 hits on the target. I need 13. Which I'm probably not going to get because I lost my payload. Okay, so fighter, he already went. Now we're on him. We're going to do drop the whole payload. Okay, so there's the 3. We're going to do these 2 first. 10. 2 hits. Oh, by the way, it was the flight leader who gets +0. So that 10 is an unmodified. So there we go. So 2 hits for him. Ooh, that's a 9. So 1 hit for that. So that's 3 hits. And then over here, another 10. My goodness. 2, 3, and then this is 3 more. That's 6 more hits. So we're going to grab the 6 token. We're up to 10. Wow. That defied the odds there. That was not a typical bombing run. And I have 1 more plane left. This plane lost its payload. This one has 1 bomb, my mega bomb here. He gets a +1 to his air to ground. And we are at 10. We need 3 hits. Oh my goodness. I just did it. There's a 7. Plus 1 is 8, but that didn't matter. That's 3 more hits. We just destroyed our first target. Wow. Okay. So, target is destroyed. And aircraft move and adjust altitude. So during this move step, we can just decide we're done with the mission. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we're just done. We're gone. There's no more attacks. We don't even move the turn counter. There is no turn 4. We're just done. So we moved away and we successfully did our first mission. Now there's a couple of things that still have left to be done. We have to do a homebound flight. So we're going to draw homebound event card. And then we use the bottom. Oh, look at that. Gain 4 SO. I just said that these cards were awful, and we drew 3 of the nicest, most pleasant cards ever. So we gained 4 SO points. That is huge. Man, I'm so pleased with this. So I just take my little sheet, and we got plus 4. Okay, what's next? Roll for SAR results if needed. Okay, I don't remember what SAR stands for, but this is if one of our planes were destroyed, we can try to rescue our pilot. So there's a chance that he won't be out of the game forever. That, of course, is a very awful situation, and the rolling, you could rescue him, and there's ways you can modify it. And in fact, there's a big section right here that explains it all. I recommend that you read it. I'm not going to go through it because we don't have to do that. Adjust the invasion counter. Okay, this only happens if there's a keyword of invasion on the target, and there isn't, so we're fine. Draw an escalation card if needed. That only happens if we destroyed, I believe it's an invasion. We have to destroy something that has the invasion keyword. If we destroyed that target, then we draw an escalation card, which is one of these. And they're never good according to the rule book. I didn't read them. But anyways, we don't do that. And then we're done. So this debriefing thing is done when we're really done. Like I said, we have to loop back up and do the secondary mission. But there's one more thing we got to do before we move to the secondary mission. Excuse me, and that's if you look at the chart here, or target 22. So if you find 22 on the map, 22 is right here. See that stress 2? Your pilots get 2 stress just for doing the mission. So that's why there's a whole bunch of counters. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and this one's got a lot of stress, 2. Okay, so that is the end of the first mission. And, you know, we're basically going to clear these and put them back on their respective cards. All of these are going to go back into the cup, and this we record 4 victory points, and then we come around and we do this with 3 planes that didn't go in the first mission. That's our next step, and that'll be another video.